more details are emerging about what the now Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's life as a private citizen will look like, with E! News learning that the former royal will continue to be financially supported by Charles.
Today, we are focusing on the questions surrounding Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor that never seems to go away. His money, where it comes from, how much of it is left, and how. Despite years of unemployment, no public position, and no royal responsibilities, he has been able to maintain a lifestyle far beyond what his official income could ever support. You will have a good understanding of his income on paper, the money that has never been adequately explained, and the financial holes that continue to raise grave concerns by the end of this film. Let's start with the facts that he is unable to conceal. Today, Andrew's naval pension is his only declared source of income. The annual pension is about £20. He is officially living off of that, which is less than the average salary in Britain. He had private support from the late Queen and an annual allowance from the sovereign grant. Prior to his downfall, his mother used to support him with around £1 million annually. That allowance was completely eliminated when she died and King Charles took over the finances. Accordingly, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor currently makes £20,000 annually. The issue is straightforward. Nothing in his way of life is comparable to that number. Andrew has lived in Royal Lodge, a vast mansion in Windsor Great Park with 30 rooms, amazing grounds, and a degree of maintenance so high that most millionaires would reconsider for more than 20 years. In 2003, he made a one-time payment of roughly £1 million. Additionally, he had to renovate the property for about £7.5 million. He lived there for decades without paying rent, and that money did not originate from any public accounts.
The Times newspaper here in the UK has published the details of Prince Andrew's leasehold agreement for Royal Lodge. The agreement, which was shared by the Crown Estate, shows that while he paid £1 million up front and spent £7.5 million on renovations, for the 22 years that he's had the lease on Royal Lodge, he's only paid what's called a peppercorn rent, which is a nominal amount, a very small amount that often isn't even demanded.
The operating expenses are more concerning. The upkeep of Royal Lodge is costly. In fact, the annual cost of security alone has previously been estimated to be in the millions of pounds. The total cost of personnel, upkeep, repairs, insurance, heating, gardens, and stables would be enormous even if that amount had decreased recently. A £20,000 pension cannot possibly cover it in any plausible universe. Nevertheless, he spent years living there in comfort. Something amazing was discovered during a recent inquiry. Even members of the royal family are not entirely aware of Andrew's financial situation. The article claims that there is doubt at the highest levels on how he has covered the costs of houses, employees, remodeling, and legal bills. For a family that keeps careful financial records, this in and of itself is remarkable. The fact that Andrew's finances are still unclear for a monarch who keeps a careful eye on household expenditures implies that even the palace is unable to adequately account for the money that passes through his hands. Additionally, transactions that just do not add up were revealed by the Guardian inquiry, and the image becomes even more unsettling when you put them all together. The selling of Sunninghill Park, the former marriage residence of Andrew and Sarah, has never been well received by the public. A Kazakh bidder purchased the home in 2007 for almost £15 million, which was far more than the asking price. It was never occupied by him. Before it was demolished, the property remained abandoned for many years. The sales conditions have led to long-lasting conjecture over why such a high price was placed for a useless house. There is still no logical reason why a buyer would pay such a high price for a property they never utilized. Andrew received a significant cash boost from the transaction. It sustained his nice lifestyle far longer than it should have and covered his living expenses long after his official salary disappeared. It also stoked rumors that, while serving as a trade envoy, Andrew might have made connections with wealthy people who provided financial assistance through unspecified means. The chalet is at the heart of the upcoming financial mystery. Back in 2014, Andrew and Sarah acquired a £18 million chalet in Switzerland. However, the transaction was anything from easy. Payment issues persisted. The unpaid payment was not paid for a long time after the prior owner planned legal actions. The story just made Andrew's financial situation more unclear. This is the obvious question. How can a man who doesn't have a job and no business income buy a property worth £18 million? It's not entirely explained by selling Sunninghill. Financial disparities still exist.
is funding Prince Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, who despite their divorce in 1996 still live together at Royal Lodge, Windsor. How did a couple who constantly claim poverty come to afford a ski chalet in Verbier thought to be worth £13 million? They've since sold that property.
Let's be honest about the true cost of Andrew's life. At least £200,000 annually for a large home staff. Repairs and maintenance are easily six-figure sums. Tens of thousands of horses and stables are produced annually. Private legal costs. These expenses might possibly exceed the millions in only the last 5 years. Costs associated with travel, cars, clothes, security, and daily living are all high. To put it briefly, Andrew would require at least $20,000 to $30,000 every month to continue living the kind of life he used to. However, he claims a monthly pension of almost £1,600. The statistics just don't add up. Those who have extensively examined Andrew's finances frequently return to the same justifications. Support from the late Queen's personal fortune, covert help from long-standing family finances, revenue from contacts he acquired while serving as a trade envoy, unexpected or significant presence from wealthy foreign partners, and investment returns that are hidden from the public. These are the only answers that fit the amount of money that is evident in Andrew's life. But none of them have been verified in public. According to a number of sources, the monarch has tightened these channels considerably. This leads us to the issue that nobody in the palace can overlook. Since Andrew had to provide documentation to support his stay at Royal Lodge, the palace is aware of the precise amount of money he has left. He was unable to give the necessary guarantees this year. He is probably being relocated to a lesser residence on the Sandringham estate in part because of this. The new house keeps him under tighter watch, is less expensive to guard, and requires less upkeep. To put it another way, the palace is establishing a more regulated setting where Andrew's lifestyle can no longer exceed his real salary. It also resolves another issue. A man with deteriorating finances and growing scandals cannot continue to be associated with Royal Lodge. According to public estimations, Andrew's net worth is approximately £3.7 million. In actuality, this is insignificant in comparison to the expenses of his previous way of living. Even though it sounds important, that can be consumed in months by legal fees. It can be consumed in years by property maintenance. It might be completely destroyed by a single significant calamity. And keep in mind that although assets may appear great on paper, they are not cash. Andrew's situation is even more precarious than it seems if his fortune is locked up in belongings rather than cash.
Prince Andrew agreeing to settle a sexual abuse lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre.
Prince Andrew is said to be planning a surprise return to public life.
The Duke of York has settled the sex assault case.
Queen Elizabeth's younger son, Prince Andrew, is settling a sexual assault lawsuit.
There's the deal that Andrew and Virginia Giuffre reached at the beginning of 2022. His own finances were severely damaged. People briefed on the negotiations and a number of reputable sites estimated the cost at about $12 million, including damages and a gift to her charity, even though the precise amount was never made public. $12 million. This prompted the most significant financial concerns of his whole controversy. For a man with no employment, no governmental income, no commercial career, and a reputed personal net worth of barely a few million, the late Queen directly contributed to the settlement's funding. According to some royal journalists, some claim she made most of the payment. Others think she paid the full amount up front and then recovered some of it through the sale of Andrew-related assets. In any case, sources close to Buckingham Palace acknowledged in private that Andrew was unable to pay that sum on his own, so the Queen intervened. This support was reported to have infuriated King Charles, who felt that Andrew should suffer the consequences without further financial support. It is generally accepted that this is one of the reasons why, after ascending to the throne, Charles removed Andrew's allowance and any lingering support. In other words, Andrew's public life was not the only thing harmed by the deal with Virginia Way. It also showed how tight his personal finances were already. Please share your opinions in the comments section. Do you think there are accounts that are hidden? Who has been discreetly supporting his way of life? Do you believe the palace has more information than they acknowledge? Or has Andrew now reached the point where it is impossible to hide the truth about his financial situation? Make sure to enable notifications and subscribe. Every chapter of this developing tale will be covered by me. I appreciate you watching.